Happy New Year! We're starting our New Year's off, or not our New Year's, we're starting New Year's Eve off in the city for lunch at Pacific Standard Time, PST. No? And then we're gonna go ice skating either at Millennium Park or at Maggie Daily. And then we have a great Gatsby party planned for this evening, so we'll see you around!
Okay guys, I'm going to the bathroom.
You guys are good.
Touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. Stop this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. You can't touch this. My. Stop this. You can't touch this. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. My. Stop this. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. Can't touch this. My. Stop.
The Rewind Sports 60.
Sports 60. From the city of big shoulders, the jewel of the Midwest, comes a sports show that's one of a kind. From iconic players to iconic stadiums to iconic teams, this is my kind of town. Chicago! And the Rewind Sports 60 is my kind of show. From Air Jordan to Sweetness to Papa Bear Hallis, this city works hard, but plays even harder. Danny Carlino and Jerry Riles bring you the Rewind Sports 60. Live. The Rewind Sports 60 starts now.
Good afternoon. My name is Daryl Osby, and I'm the Fire Chief of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. I want to thank you for coming here to today's briefing of the Willow incident. Today, shortly before 10 o'clock at 9:47 a.m., the Los Angeles County Fire Department received a 911 call of a potential helicopter down in a brush fire at the intersection of Los Virgenes Road and Willow Glen Street in the city of Calabasas in unincorporated Los Angeles County. Upon arrival, our firefighters discovered approximately a quarter-acre brush fire that resulted from a crash on the hillside. The Los Angeles County Fire Department initial response was 15 pieces of apparatus and 56 personnel that consisted of paramedics, engine company, heavy rescue, truck company, hand crews, and aircraft, and a chief officer to oversee the incident. Upon arrival, during the incident, and upon arrival of the Sheriff's Department, our two respective departments entered into unified command to handle this incident. Our firefighters on scene indicated that there was a debris filled and steep terrain with a quarter-acre brush fire that was occurring at the time. Our firefighters hiked in to the accident site with their medical equipment and hose lines to extinguish the stubborn fire, as it included the brush fire, debris from a helicopter, and the fire also included magnesium, which is very hard for our firefighters to extinguish because magnesium reacts with oxygen and water.
Right now putting on a show. A dominant start to this third quarter. And this is the largest lead of the game. There's James. Goes across the lane, lays it up, and lays it in. And there it is. He just became the third leading scorer in NBA history, passing Kobe Bryant. Another milestone for the great LeBron James.
And the Laker fans well aware of it.
A kid, when I was in high school, I was growing up through the ranks when Kobe came into the league. He was, it wasn't a dream of mine to come straight, from high school at that point in time to the NBA. But I was like, wow, a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid being able to make that leap, that's pretty damn cool. And as I started playing more ball and I went into high school, the things that he was doing on the floor, I, admired and wanted to be a part of. I went to ABCD camp. And he came and talked to all the kids that was there, and I happened to be one of the kids that was there, and I was just listening. I was just trying to soak everything up I could, And I remember one thing that he said. He was like, if you want to try to be, great at it, or want to be one of the greats, you got to put the work in. There's no substitution to work. And I was a 15-year-old kid at that camp. You can actually find the footage of him at that camp. And in 2001, I believe I was playing in New Jersey, and the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken, and y'all could correct me, was in Philly, right? Yeah, that Saturday, me and Maverick drove to the Intercontinental downtown Philadelphia, and he gave me a pair of his shoes, which I ended up wearing that following night. It was the red, white, and blue Kobe's. I was a 15, and he was a 14, and I wore them anyways. And I sat and just talked to him for a little bit. He gave me the shoes. I rocked them in the game. And it was the same night that we played Oak Hill against Melo. And then I saw what he was able to do the very next night, winning MVP here in Philly. That same that following night. As I got drafted, I still just admired him. You know, seeing what he was able to accomplish, winning championships, having, you know, being early in his career where, you know, he learned from the misses that he had against the series against Utah, and he just used that as motivation and got better and better and better to him winning multiple championships, and continued to admire him throughout my high school rank.
Welcome, everyone, to another edition of the Rewind Sports 60. Yours truly, Jerry Riles, along with our esteemed panel, Dan Marvelous Marver, the 17th letter of the alphabet, former NFL standout Quentin Demps, and, of course, the lovely and talented Comcast CN 100 sideline reporter, very own Lauren Cox, on the fastest hour in sports conversation. And it's with heavy hearts that we deliver this show to you, our listening audience, on WCPT 820 AM, the Rewind Sports 60. I'm sure you've heard the news, whether it's on social media, the network news, the national news. The NBA world has lost an icon, a beloved figure, and truly a great human being. Kobe Bryant perished in a helicopter crash earlier today in California. He died at the age of 41. Also, his daughter, Gianna, 13 years of age, was in the helicopter along with him. She perished. And it is, it's just devastating news. It is heartbreaking, and it's unbelievable. It's unreal. We're joined by our team, the marvelous one, Quentin Demps and Lauren Cox. And if you want to join in, we'd love to hear your response, your reaction to the passing of Kobe Bryant. Our number here is 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. And Marvelous, I'd like to start with you and get your reaction. We will be joined by Dr. Lloyd Walton. He is an NBA analyst that joins us regularly on the Rewind Sports 60. He's also NBA Players Association life coach and counselor. He'll be joining us to reflect on the life and career of Kobe Bryant. Marvelous, your reaction when you heard of the news?
Well, obviously, it's quite a shock. And, I mean, at my time, he was one of the most amazing players, other than people that played in Chicago, of course. But I will quote Michael Jordan for you, if that's okay. He says, "I am in shock over the tragic news of Kobe's and Gianna's passing. Words can't describe the pain I'm feeling. I loved Kobe. He was like a little brother to me. We used to talk often, and I will miss those conversations very much. He was a fierce competitor, one of the greats of the game, and a creative force. Kobe was also an amazing dad who loved his family deeply and took great pride in his daughter's love for the game of basketball. Yvette joins me in sending my deepest condolences to Vanessa, the Lakers organization, and basketball fans around the world." I think that says it all. I mean, obviously, Michael got a lot of gravitas, and I have some other quotes from other people, but I thought that was the one we should start off with.
There's no question about it. 20 years in the National Basketball Association, 17-time All-Star, 5-time NBA champion, 2-time MVP, 2-time Olympian. Kobe Bryant definitely left a mark on the NBA and began to make a mark in this world, of course, with what he has done off the court regarding homelessness and helping the underprivileged, but also not only in our country, the United States, but overseas as well. Quentin Demps joining us, former NFL star, a part of the program. Your thoughts, your reflections on when you heard the news of Kobe Bryant and his daughter passing.
I got a text, man, and like anything nowadays, I didn't believe it. I was like, yeah, let me go check and see, and sure enough, man, it's true. And, I'm just kind of like at a loss for words, to be for real. It's like, you think about him as a basketball player, but he was also a good man, too.
Yeah.
You think about his daughters, man, his daughter's on the plane, too. That just really hit home, too. Like, dang.
Yeah.
It's just...
Had you had an opportunity to ever meet Kobe?
No, I never met him, but I saw him play, but I never met him.
Sure. I had a chance to meet him a couple times during the latter part of his career. Of course, playing for the LA Lakers, and they're coming to town to take on our Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. It really hit home for me because, again, his daughter, 13 years of age, and when Kobe retired from the game, I think it was back in
16.
Yeah. When he retired from the game, he said he pretty much got away from watching the NBA on television, and Gianna, his 13-year-old daughter, she loved it, and she convinced him to come back to the game, so to speak, and watch it. And they were heading to a basketball game, her basketball game, and that's why they were taking a helicopter ride along with 8 other people or 7 other people. 9 total perished in the crash there, but they were on their way to her basketball game because she loved the game.
She was good too, right?
She was very, very good.
Yeah.
And at one particular time, the story was told that she and Kobe were walking down the street, and fans say, "Hey, Kobe, you're gonna have to have a son because he has all daughters. You're gonna have a son so you can keep your legacy going." And Gianna, known as Gigi, said, "No. I got this."
Right.
So her game was very, very high level.
Yeah.
And she wanted to carry the baton as far as basketball play was concerned regarding that family. And it like you said, it just totally hits home. And any of you out there who have, a daughter or a son, what it takes to, travel. Whether they're playing basketball, whether they're playing football. My daughters were both in gymnastics, and so you become that dad, that gymnastics dad, that basketball dad, or whatever. And that's what Kobe embraced regarding his daughter, Gianna, who was an exceptional basketball player. Lauren, your reaction when you had an opportunity to find out? Because when I found out, I was actually watching the Farmers Insurance Open with Tiger Woods, and he had just completed the second hole. And I got a text from a friend of mine, and it was TMZ that broke the story. And I said in caps, all caps, "What?" Because I didn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. That didn't make any sense to me. And of course, it was a reality.
Absolutely. It's incredibly tragic, specifically thinking about what LeBron did yesterday. And that's why my mom was the person who called me and told me about it. And I was just like, this cannot be happening because he was just being celebrated yesterday. And when LeBron passed him yesterday for the all-time scoring list, he spoke so passionately about Kobe. He really took the focus away from him and really placed it back on Kobe. And what I walked away from with that coverage around what LeBron did, I walked around I thought more about Kobe than I did LeBron, because LeBron idolizes him, but it really spoke to the impact that he has on the league today and the bar that he set, which was so incredibly high. But he's a legend. And Barack Obama, he tweeted, Kobe was a legend on the court and just getting started, and what would have been just as meaningful a second act. When you have the president of the United States calling you a legend, it really speaks to who he is and was as a man.
It speaks volumes. There's no question about it. I have to apologize to those of you who normally watch us on Facebook Live. Unfortunately, our computers are down and we're in transition, so it'll be a couple weeks before we're back up streaming live on Facebook. But you can also definitely check us out on WCPT820.com, WCPT820.com, streaming everywhere on the web. And, of course, you got us in your car radios.
Sixers right now putting on a show. A dominant start to this third quarter. And this is the largest lead of the game. There's James, goes across the lane, lays it up, and lays it in. And there it is. He just became the third leading scorer in NBA history, passing Kobe Bryant. Another milestone for the great LeBron James.
And the Laker fans well aware of it.
Oh, absolutely. Thibault. Can't hit. James the rebound. All that's left ahead of him is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Karl Malone. Nice feed inside. James to Davis. Back-to-back buckets as Brett Brown call a quick timeout.
Just happening last night, LeBron James surpassed surpassing Kobe Bryant. We're joined on our TRS60 hotline by one of our analysts. He's the NBA analyst for the Rewind Sports 60, and it's with heavy hearts that we welcome him to the program. He is Dr. Lloyd Walton, NBA Players Association life coach and counselor on our hotline. Doctor, how are you?
What's up, Doc?
Hey, man. It's one of those tough days, man.
Mm-hmm.
One of those really tough days. Gosh, man, well, I just, you can't explain this kind of stuff happening for a myriad of different reasons. Our basketball family is just devastated. For a whole host of reasons, too. We think of just about someone's age, and we think about their kids and our kids even. And these are things that you just cannot plan for or explain. I've been sitting there for the last 15 minutes just trying to write down all of the positive things that I thought about regarding Kobe. And gosh, there are so many. It's just very, very unfortunate for him, for us, for all the other families that have been affected, man. I just cannot get a grip on this. But I'm here. I'm here to share my little insight and perspective, and hopefully, people get a chance to know a little bit more about it after this.
Well, Doc, I don't think you're offering little insight. I think the insight that you provide this crew here and our listening audience makes a major impact because you have the pulse on the NBA. You interact with both the current and the former players, and you've had a relationship with Kobe among others that you come in contact with consistently. And we'd love to hear those stories regarding your relationship because, again, 6 years in the league, playing with the Milwaukee Bucks, and you've been a part of the NBA for more than 25, 30 years. And so you bring something special to the table, and you interact with these guys. And again, overwhelmingly, this has hit the entire, not just the country, but the world, not just the NBA family, but it has affected the entire world. And that tells you and shows you the magnitude that Kobe Bryant brought not only on the court, but to the masses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I was thinking about Kobe, I was thinking about just, all of us who have played sports. And I worked directly for Michael at one point in time. It's hard for me to believe anybody has been more competitive than those two guys, seriously.
I can see that. I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? The competition. One of the things that I say, Q, all the time is like, why don't other guys compete in the dunk contest? Why don't they compete in the three-point shooting contest? Because you had a guy like Kobe, a guy like Michael competing in those events because they love the competition. It wasn't about winning every time because we all know, we all been athletes. So we just wanted to compete, that love for that competition. And we don't find that every day anymore.
Yeah.
How these guys inspire other people around the globe, right, to even play basketball. And here's a funny thing I want to share. Maybe you'll really understand this or like this, Q, is that I thought Kobe was one of the most selfish players on the court you could ever want to meet. But here's the caveat, though. But he was one of the most selfless players off the court. I cannot tell you right now today how many players right now in the league that he's mentoring.
Yeah.
There's well over 20 guys that he talks to on a regular basis about their game and how to get better. So that speaks volumes about him as a person. I think about, I can't think of the kid's name that joined the Lakers, and Kobe felt like his game wasn't what he wanted to be. That's Kobe, that is. And he told this guy, show up tomorrow, man. I want you here 2 hours before practice because I want to work on my game. So, of course, the young guy shows up. Well, for the next 2 hours, the kid, Kobe makes the kid guard him. He had to guard him. He wouldn't let the kid play any offense at all, just guard
defense.
Him for two.
That's genius.
Yes, for 2 straight hours, man.
That's genius.
Yeah,
He probably light him up, too. He probably lighting him up, too.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Giving them the blues, man. Then you think about, my responsibility in a nutshell is helping players prepare for life after the game.
Right.
that's ultimately what I do. He was the epitome of what we want our players to do in preparing for life after the game. Within 2 years, he wins the damn Oscar.
Yeah.
Who the hell does that, man?
Yeah.
You know, I was told that he left that 2 days after his retirement, he was at his business office at 8 o'clock in the morning, working on the next thing. You know, this man.
Yeah, I don't think nobody outworked him.
Well, that's the thing.
No.
That's the thing. He as you stated, and we're on with Dr. Lloyd Walton. He's current NBA Players Association life coach and counselor in the association, and he joins us on our TRS60 hotline to reflect on the life and the career of the great late Kobe Bryant, who passed earlier today in a tragic helicopter accident in California, along with his daughter and 7 others. That's the interesting thing about it, because when you hear about, the legacy of Kobe Bryant, many people, and this is one thing, I'm a Chicagoan, and I love Michael Jordan. He is the supreme of all supreme.
No doubt.
But we can remember that vision in our minds when Kobe Bryant was a rookie going up against the Chicago Bulls, and he and Michael, I don't know who was at the free throw line shooting, but he and Michael were between the circles, as they say, and they both were resting their hands on their knees, and there's a great vision, a great picture of the two of them talking, and Michael Jordan basically telling Kobe Bryant, you are the next level. You are the next generation. And what Kobe exemplified today in his life is what Michael Jordan passed along to him, that you have to work hard to be great. You have it. The accolades can come your way, but you have to put the work in. And Kobe Bryant, as we all know, modeled his career after Michael Jordan, and we see it landed him, prior to LeBron surpassing him, the 3rd all-time leading scorer in the National Basketball Association. But the one thing that some people say is that Kobe Bryant, like you said, Doc, once he left the court, he took that mentality to the streets, literally, and to the youth and the homeless. And like you said, he reaches out to even current players to let them know how they can get better. And LeBron James even stated that Kobe told me, if I want to be great, if I want to be one of the greats, I have to put the work in. And Kobe Bryant, he certainly did that.
Well, you're going to, over the next whatever, we're going to hear about so many different stories about so many different players, presently and past, that he impacted their life in terms of their work ethic, which we know, Q, if you don't have it, seriously, even if you have talent and you don't have that work ethic, you're not going to be around very long. That work ethic has to be there. But you think about this guy, he was so well-rounded. He spoke 4 languages. I don't know if you guys
Did he really?
heard the story.
Wow.
He spoke 4 languages.
Wow.
So check this out. 2 weeks ago, Dallas is playing in Los Angeles. And so Luka Doncic is taking the ball out under the basket, and Kobe's sitting behind him. And all of a sudden, Luka turns around like shocked. And you know the reason why he turned around shocked? Not because just Kobe was there, but Kobe was speaking Slovenia, trash-talking him.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
You talk, come on, man. This guy grew up in Italy, right? Learning different languages, being exposed to different kind of cultures. So he came into this league, man, as a different kind of guy.
Different mentality, man. That mindset, it's that mindset they have.
Right, about life and what have you.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys had this, Q, but we had what we call a team awareness meeting, where every team has to participate, have to show up for the meeting. And in my case, I go in and I give this talk on preparing for life after basketball and why you're playing and things like that. If you don't show up, you get fined $25,000. Okay, now I've been doing this for 21 years, so early on that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, after year 7, Kobe said, "I'm not coming anymore. I got this," and he proved it. He just said, "Take the $25 fine. I got this, man.
Every year.
I'm already prepared and ready to go." Every year, he would come by the room. "What's up?" I'm like, "What's up? See you later," and he'd go on with his life.
Yo, so I kind of been like in the tunnel vision mode So can somebody like paint the picture of what happened? So LeBron broke the record in LA? In LA? And Kobe was there?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
No.
shit.
He tweeted.
Philadelphia.
Okay, it's in Philadelphia.
The Lakers played.
But Kobe wasn't there though.
And he was
He from Philly, right?
He's from Philly,
Yeah.
so that's
that's
the first place LeBron met.
And
Oh, that's
LeBron,
dope. That's
LeBron
dope.
reflected on meeting Kobe when LeBron was 14 or 15
And he
years
gave
of
him his
age.
shoes
And he
and-
gave, Kobe gave LeBron his shoes in Philadelphia.
That's crazy.
So he said it was all surreal.
Yeah, I knew it was
Yes.
something.
that
Yeah.
this happened, Lauren. Wow.
Doc, and now the fans are at Staples Center, and they said it's thousands of fans out there memorializing him. Talk a bit about his impact with the fans and the LA Laker organization.
You know what? I think that, gosh, man, I don't know if we can just see it when it comes, that we recognize greatness, or is it over the period of time that progressively we begin to see what greatness really looks like and how they prepare and how they come to work?
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, this totally impacted the Los Angeles area.
Absolutely.
And I heard Kobe just speaking, this was last week, talking about how frustrated he was. Can you imagine, an 18-year-old kid, and he wasn't even playing his first year in college. I mean, first year in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Harris was the coach, and he wasn't playing about 18 minutes a game.
Right.
And he was pissed every game, like, I'm better than these guys. I can help this team win, right? And, people began to hear that. But what they began to see was he was telling the truth. One, by his work ethic. That meant he was getting there 3 hours before they were even supposed to be there, putting in the work, right? Then going through practice, staying after practice. It got to the point that he would have 3 practices even on game day, because that's when he started taking the helicopter, because there was so much traffic, as everybody knows who's been in Los Angeles. This traffic was like crazy, and he was in Calabasas, so it could easily take you 2 hours. So he was coming in, getting that work done, staying in a hotel in midday, then coming back to work again.
Wow.
That was the kind of work ethic that he put out, and people began to see it and believe it, because statistically and the way he played and elevated his teammates, I think that's the true essence of greatness, how you elevate everybody around you. That's what he did. You got regular, everyday guys who were playing above and beyond their capability, their skill sets, and they were winning championships.
Hey, Lloyd,
do that.
Hey, Lloyd, this is Dan. You're absolutely correct. People forget that he came straight out of high school to play in the Pro League too. And the greatest comment I think that we can hear is from Irvin Johnson. He says, "My friend, a legend, husband, father, son, brother, Oscar winner, and greatest Laker of all time is gone. It's hard to accept Kobe was a leader of our game. It's hard to accept Kobe was a leader of our game, a mentor to both male and female players. He gave his knowledge, time, and talent, and tutored so many at the youth level, collegiate level, NBA and WNBA players. Words can't express the impact that he had on the game of basketball. I know basketball fans all over the world will miss him, especially the city of Los Angeles." That's from Magic.
Hey, man, well said. That's all I can say. Well said, man. I thought the world of him. And I'll be honest with you, you guys remember this? Remember when he was so upset that they weren't even in the playoffs that the Lakers are, that he said he wanted to leave? And in fact, he was thinking about, this is a true story. He actually came to Chicago looking for a house.
Right.
Okay?
Wow.
And it never happened. That's how close they came to getting Kobe, in Chicago. But this guy wanted to come here just because he wanted to win.
Right.
And I don't know today, I'm around players, and I think players do what they have to do. They do what they think they need to do. But the game that you want to leave it as a winner. You want to know everybody to know that I give you everything that I got every night that I go out there on the floor. And I know, and I'm just speaking honestly, everybody can't say that. Everybody can't say that.
No, there's no question about it. We're on with the great Dr. Lloyd Walton, former NBA players, 6 years in the league with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Sacramento Kings. He is a Chicagoan through and through. He is currently the NBA Players Association life coach and counselor, joining us on our TRS60 hotline. If you want to join in and reflect on the life and career of Kobe Bryant, our number here is 773-763-9278, 773-763-WCPT. We are going commercial free based on the unfortunate and tragic breaking news of Kobe Bryant, his young daughter, and 7 others dying in a helicopter crash, a helicopter accident earlier today in California. And it's seriously, it's a tragic story. It's a tragic situation. It's going to be interesting to see how things unfold. I know there are a couple NBA games going on where the players took a 24-second clock violation. In honor of Kobe Bryant.
Right.
Yeah.
The Lakers are home next Tuesday against the Clippers is their next game.
Yeah, you know what? And I don't know, Doc. You tell me.
Clippers too, huh?
You tell me, Doc. I thought, and based on his iconic image, I thought part of me said that the NBA should have canceled their games for today. Was that a little bit too far-fetched for me to step out on a limb and say that based on Kobe and what he meant to the game and how it affected, like I said, not only this country but the entire world?
Well, let me first tell you this. Let me preface my comment with a guy who tore his Achilles and refused to come out because he needed to shoot the free throw.
Sure thing.
Nope. If it was Kobe, if you could ask Kobe what we're going to do, we're going to cancel a play, he would look at it like you crazy. We're going to play, man.
All that
That's
money
what
they
we
got,
do.
yeah. No, I agree with that
play.
too. I agree with that too.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's so many guys do so many things that we maybe question you about, whether you really love this game or not. But when you really love this game, you play the damn game.
Yeah.
I heard all kind of stuff over the last 2 weeks. They should have let the young kid Zion, they should keep him out for the whole. He's a basketball player. You play the game.
Yeah.
Now, once the injury takes place and you get healed, you got to play.
You got to play.
I don't understand that, but to answer your question, Jerry, he would say, play the damn game, man. Let's get it on. Let's toss it up. Let's go.
Yeah, he would.
Let's go compete.
Okay.
He probably wouldn't even want one. He'd probably be like, yeah, y'all go play y'all's game.
Okay.
That's true. That's a good point, too.
So, Doc, let me ask you again. You are currently with the Players Association, and you deal with these players on and off the court, current and former players. Part of your job is to help these players transition back into the real world. With the players that you interact with and you engage with, how do you counsel them because it's a fraternity. The NBA, like all the other sports, it's a fraternity, and everybody knows each other. Dwayne Wade, when he found out, he tweeted, he said, "No, God, no." I mean, these are brothers. With your role and your responsibility regarding, the league, what is your approach? What's your next step in trying to ease these young guys and some of these former players, into the next phase as far as the league is concerned?
Look, I'm just like everybody else. I'm dealing with this in my own way. As I told you before when I started, I sat down and wrote all the good things I thought about Kobe and remembered. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist, I don't claim to be like that. But just in terms of conversations about how he impacted the game of basketball, I have a lot to contribute and thoughts about that. I would do that with any player, former or present-day player. And I think that every team is equipped with a chaplain and therapist that they would have to, certainly sit down and talk with. Now, I don't know. I think you do what you ordinarily do, and that's go play the damn game. If you need someone to talk to, each respective team can supply that kind of individual for you. But me personally, I'm open to having a conversation with everybody. But honestly, I needed to have a conversation.
Okay.
I was on my way to spend some time with a good friend of mine, and I had to pull over. And after I pulled over and got myself together, I went in and we sat down and we talked about it. But it's very, very difficult for somebody who's given so much of himself to a game. And I imagine it's just the same, particularly for those young men and women who he's mentoring now. For them to be like, this guy, I could lean on this guy. I could call this guy. I could text him. Now, who am I going to call and who am I going to text?
Sure.
So it's going to be tough for a number of people, man. I just, I pray for them. But, my prayers are with Vanessa, the rest of those kids, and the other 8 families that
a daughter
got
too,
to deal with this, man.
You know what? And,
man, please.
I'm glad you said that. And we all here have families. We all here have kids. And Lauren, being a lone female in this group, you're a mom. And that's one of the first things that I thought about was Vanessa.
Definitely.
And they just had a newborn, I believe, in June.
Capri.
And some folks said, God bless the family in that regard, because maybe if they didn't have the newborn, maybe Vanessa is on that flight, on that helicopter as well, going to the game. Your thoughts, being a mom, and God forbid, that any of us, have to experience something like this. And again, our prayers and condolences go out to the family, and we're certainly with Kobe and Gianna. But as a mom, as a parent, how does that hit home for you and reflect as far as, trying to get through a difficult situation?
Sure. I mean, I just cannot imagine what Vanessa is going through right now because, in addition to losing her husband, she loses a child, which is, one thing that a parent could never imagine. So, people, of course, are going to reach out to her and support her and be there for her. And when she thinks, and when she has those moments where she is alone, she really will have to think about his legacy and, what he's done for the world. He's international. This is international news, and kind of use that as comfort to kind of get her through these moments, which, nobody would ever imagine that something like this would have to happen to you, where you lose a husband and a child. She's really going to have to lean on her faith.
Sure.
And those memories of Kobe and the strength and the type of person he was, and really carry on in a way in which he would want her to carry on and to be that mother for those other two, I believe, surviving children who did survive, and will have to make sense of this and heal and really honor their father's legacy.
Yeah, and you know what? The one thing that we've learned about this, and again, I stated earlier that this is a fraternity. And off the court, and we talk about the competitive nature, Dr. Lloyd Walton. There's no question about it. We talk about that, and we can speculate on if it's as tough or if it's not as tough. But off the court, it's a family, and we do know, regardless of whatever's transpired over the recent years and the years over time with the Lakers organization, Jeannie Buss has that family unity, cohesiveness, and you can believe that they're going to embrace Vanessa and those girls and do anything and everything in their power to make sure, as best as they can, that transitional period is as difficult as it's going to be. They're going to try to make it as easy as they possibly can.
Right.
Dan Marver, anything you got?
Well, I was just reminiscing about, some of the amazing accomplishments on the court. He had the 81-point game. And he had, in his final game, after he was, supposedly at the end of his career, he scored 60 in his final game.
Right.
And if you just look at him in a close game, you knew he was going to do it. It was just an amazing thing. Just you could see in his face that they were going to win the game. He was just an amazing basketball player.
Yeah.
Q?
I think I was watching Letterman, an interview he did with Letterman. They talked about him fighting Shaq or something like that.
Yeah.
I just, I was watching that just on a random day. Dang, you got to be one crazy mug to run up on Shaq, man. You got to be crazy to run up on Shaq, man. The locker room, man, that big boy, man. Hey, leave him alone, man. He crazy. This boy ran up on Shaq, man. Man, that just says Mamba, real
Doctor,
talk.
Yeah, Mamba. Hey,
Mamba,
Doctor, any closing comments, any closing thoughts, again, on the life and times of the great late Kobe Bryant?
Yeah, I just want to share two real quick with Dan talking about Kobe scoring 60 in his last game. The irony in that is that people always said he shot too much, but the last quarter, the last 12 minutes, everybody was screaming every time he touched the ball, shoot, 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 shoot. And
wow.
that was the antithesis of how people wanted him to play prior to that.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to say to Lauren, Q, Dan, Jerry, no one knows that day and that hour.
Yeah.
Hug and kiss your kids, because we just don't know.
Well
Thanks,
said.
guys.
Real talk.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You're absolutely right, and thank you. We love you, brother, and always a pleasure. I love you being a part of the Rewind Sports 60, and I'm looking forward to a long, prosperous, not only partnership as far as what we do, but a friendship as well, my good man. Keep up the good work, and certainly be talking with you moving forward.
Appreciate you, Doc.
Absolutely. Safe travels. Take care, everybody.
All right, man.
He's the best in the business, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Lloyd Walton, 6th-year former NBA veteran, National Basketball Association, currently with the Players Association, joining us on our TRS60 hotline to reflect on the life and times of the great late Kobe Bryant, who passed away earlier today in a tragic helicopter accident out in California. We go back out to our TR60 hotline, and he is a longtime NBA expert, beat writer for your Chicago Bulls, ChicagoBulls.com. Joining us on our TR60 hotline, he is one Sam Smith. Sam, how are you? Thank you for taking some time out to join us on this dark, disappointing, dismal day in the world of sports.
Yeah, it's absolutely tough day for everyone in the NBA, especially in the wake as well of the passing of David Stern.
Yes,
it's really very difficult 1-2 punch, and then especially tragic way Kobe passed. So it is tough for everybody, and not only NBA but sports, because he had really, it was kind of interesting the way he has evolved into such a regarded figure, whereas during his career, and it's understandable, everybody goes through that, but, there was so much ambivalence at different times, and, the way he sort of evolved afterward to become virtually a mentor to so many of these young players, and so it's, and then of course, the family elements too. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah, Sam, you've been covering the league for quite some time, and of course, you remember when Kobe Bryant broke into the league, and we talked about it earlier in our broadcast here regarding that image, that vision when the Bulls and the Lakers played each other, Kobe's rookie season, and he and Michael Jordan are side by side, resting their hands on their knees, and Michael Jordan is talking to Kobe, and it's alleged that he said, "Hey, you're the next generation. You're the next leader of this league. But if you want to be one of the great ones, similar to what Kobe passed along to LeBron, you've got to really, really work hard." What were your thoughts and your reflections on that image?
Well, let me tell you, I actually knew Kobe very well, and the one thing we'd hear around the NBA and especially in Chicago, with who's going to be the next Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
There was always sports is always looking for a messiah, next great, and that debate has gone on, continues. Is it LeBron? Is it the next whatever? And nobody really mimicked Michael more than Kobe, if you remember literally the way he walked and the way he talked sometimes, and that was an indicator of not only the competitor, which is much discussed, and how on the one hand how much he admired Michael, but the second, and on the other hand, as much like Michael, he wanted to knock him off that pedestal. I remember a classic. This was Michael. Kobe was still playing, and Michael had retired. And Phil Jackson. They were really, in years past, weren't close because they were competitors. And Kobe was so much younger. And so Phil Jackson was coaching the Lakers still, and got Michael together in the suite. They were in L.A. and it invited Jerry West and Kobe and Phil, and they're sitting in the suite. And Kobe challenged Michael to a game. Said, "I'll take you out there on the court right now, and I'll kick your ass." And that was sort of the playful kind of thing, but serious as well. That that both an admiration, how much you admired Michael, but at the same time how much you challenged him, and that was the great nature of Kobe, and it's some misunderstood too because of that striving, to really be great. Obviously had some incidents, the assault case in Colorado, but he ended up on the other side of Shaq, and Shaq was the more lovable figure, and he was sort of the villain in an era, which he really wasn't. He was really the more serious player, and Shaq, kind of was lazy, and really that was more the genesis of the issue back there, and it really led the Lakers to trade Shaq and keep Kobe. So tremendous legacy in the sport, and while I'd say there's no real next to Jordan, Kobe much more than LeBron. LeBron may be a better overall player, but Kobe is really closer to what Jordan represented than anyone else ever has been.
Sam, and speaking of Shaq, he tweeted earlier today, "There's no words to express the pain I'm going through with this tragedy of losing my niece Gigi and brother Kobe." He goes on to say, "I'm sick right now," all caps. Talk to us about his relationship with his teammates.
Well, they reconciled. And there was always big theatrics associated with it. And I don't remember what team Shaq was with. Initially, they played their first game, and a lot of these games. Kobe's first game, I remember in the playoffs against Utah, I shot a bunch of air balls as a rookie, and didn't bother him in the least, because he was such a great. But I remember the first All-Star game too, where he was waving Karl Malone out of the post, which is he's just not done. But that's it's sort of the confidence and the swagger he had. And it was a complicated, that was the story of the NBA for years, their feud. And, it was, serious. It was a serious feud. And I think what Shaq came to realize more, even though he was the senior, that he was wrong. Kobe was a more serious player, and Kobe was about, winning more than Shaq was. Shaq was more popular because he was just about more having fun. And Kobe was so serious about the game that he often challenged Shaq over that, but the fact that they could coexist as they did and win 3 championships as teammates was really remarkable. Because they really didn't get along very well in that era.
Yeah.
But later on, Shaq really warmed up, and I think he offered several mea culpas about hey, I could have acted better. But that's the nature of Shaq. Proud guy, but admits he's wrong sometimes.
We're on with the great Sam Smith, legendary beat writer for the Chicago Bulls, NBA.com, joining us on the Rewind Sports 60, WCPT 820 AM, reflecting on the life and career of the great late Kobe Bryant, who perished in a tragic helicopter accident earlier today.
Sam, I think Kobe had a great awareness, too. I mean, some of the things that he said were amazing. I was born with an amazing talent, and I practiced like I had none, he would say. And then he said, everything negative, pressure, challenges is all an opportunity for me to rise. I do whatever it takes to win games, whether it's sitting on a bench, waving a towel, handing a cup of water to a teammate, or hitting the game-winning shot. These young guys are playing checkers. I'm out there playing chess, he said.
Yeah,
well, certainly, tremendously confident and very driven. The story is, grew up in Italy. His father was a former NBA player, pretty good, player, Jelly Bean Joe Bryant, and so grew up really sheltered, in a foreign language place. I think he just had a sister. Kobe, on physical talent, should not have been nearly as good as he was, and I think what that demonstrated, because he didn't. You would see, we would see Michael, he'd have one hand and he'd push that ball out to an opponent and pull it back. And Kobe couldn't do that. He didn't have very big hands, which is unusual for a great player. And while he had, decent size and good athleticism, it wasn't extraordinary comparative, with even Jordan. And that's just how driven he was, and probably too much to an extent. And early on, it alienated him, from his teammates a lot because he was more driven, probably almost at an unhealthy level.
Yeah, what's the reason he went from 8 to 24?
That's what made him the player. He wouldn't have been that level player, just working out, 4-6 hours a day or whatever, like everyone else. He had to be literally, I don't know how many guys I've heard on every team I've covered. There's always 10 guys who are the last one to leave the gym. And so they must all be running out at the same time. But Kobe always was that guy, and really driving himself, to somebody who didn't suffer fools very well. Fools meaning, people who are sort of live normal lives about, playing the game. So, but that, that fit him. That's not only who he was, but what he wanted.
Hey, Sam. Sam, you know, obviously we're aware of the unfortunate setback that Kobe had. The blemish that he had in his career. I think halfway through. Do you think that setback elevated him mentally as well as physically to really focus and concentrate on being the best? We know what he came into the league with, and we knew he had the talent, but it seemed like after everything subsided regarding that negative blemish on his resume, so to speak, he took his game to another level. And I thought that he really started to model himself and study Michael Jordan to a T. Do you think that setback helped elevate his game to even a higher level of being great the way that he was?
Well, I don't know, but he was accused of sexual assault. It was a serious charge. We don't know. The case ended up being settled out of court, and so we don't know what he did and it didn't do. I certainly wouldn't dismiss the accusations of the person who charged him. We don't know either side. Look, he was seriously facing, a long time imprisonment at the time.
Yeah.
And that case was a serious case, and as we've seen, many in recent years. So that was a setback. I don't want to minimize that. I saw him after that, not personally, but I went to Hawaii that first year when he came back after the settlement, I think it was. I can't remember. The Lakers had training camp. The Lakers used to have training camp every other year in Hawaii because it was part of their TV market. He used to go down there for advertisers and things. And his first training camp after, I think, the settlement was in Hawaii there. And he was separated from everybody. He was obviously, it was a major story. It was way beyond sports. All the national news magazines and TV was there, and he was really under siege and it was a difficult. What was really amazing was the way he came back while that was going on, and he'd appear in court and then he'd come to a Laker game, and he'd have these extraordinary games. And what I was amazed by was the way he could separate. He was able to separate his private life from his sports life, and I think it was just his in later years. I think what happened was, and actually I spent some time with him after that. He made sort of a mea culpa tour, and he had called. I didn't know him really well. I'd covered him a lot of years, but wasn't close off the court or anything. But out of the blue, he called and wanted to get together when he was coming to Chicago. And he did this in some other cities with some selected, media people, and just wanted to say, hey, this is who I really am, and, give me another chance. And I think that's sort of really when he began to change and open up to the public more, realizing that it all could have been taken away from him by his own doing or whatever occurred. We don't really... I don't know, and I never spoke with him about it, nor was it my place ever to. But, as he matured, like Michael, Michael came back in the mid-'90s, and he wasn't physically anywhere near the player he was before. Athletically, he didn't have the explosion, but he was a dominant player. And that's, at Kobe, that experience and that knowledge, that's what Kobe had used later in his career to dominate people who were so much physically more gifted than him as they were with Jordan in the late 90s there.
You know what? Hey, Sam, we can definitely always talk with you and love to sit back and, as they say, throw a log on the fire and just reminisce and just talk shop. We're short on time, and we appreciate you taking some time out again on this disappointing, dark day here in the world of sports. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with regarding Kobe Bryant and his life and, again, his career?
Not really. I think just the saddest part, obviously, the tragic deaths of his daughter, the people he was with, and hope they don't get forgotten as well, is just how much he'd sort of, gotten past all the striving with the basketball stuff and has been in such a good place. And, that's to me is the worst I feel about it. I ran into him about a year ago on Rush Street. He was in Chicago. He had a lot of corporate stuff doing, and had dinner, and I just happened to be, I think it was at Gibson's, and saw him there. He was meeting with some business people. Yeah, couldn't have been, in great spirits, couldn't have been better, and, invited me to sit down and chat, and so, he's just been in such a good, and doing, sort of keeping his finger in the league a little bit with his show. So it's just terrible to feel at this young stage of life, to pass like that.
Yeah, as they say, way too early, way too early. Sam, thank you again for taking the time. I will appreciate you, and we'll see you over at the United Center, my good friend.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Take care. Sam Smith, Chicago Bulls beat writer, NBA.com. Following the league for many, many years, reflecting on Kobe Bryant, the passing of Kobe Bryant. It is the fastest hour in sports conversation. We appreciate all of you taking time out to listen to our broadcast. If you miss any portion of it, you can definitely go to WCPT 820 AM. Check us out on SoundCloud. It'll also be posted on our website, TheRewindSports60.com. Before we're out of here, any closing thoughts? Lauren, we'll start with you.
Just, my sincere condolences to Brian's wife, Vanessa. There are 3 daughters, Natalia, 17, Bianca, 3, and the newborn, not newborn, but 7-month-old Capri, as well as the families of the other 2, the other 3 people who was on that plane with them as well. And it just really speaks to how fragile life is. And, we all want to have a legacy and leave something behind. And tragic events like this just really put things in perspective in terms of count your blessings and really live life to the fullest, because Kobe did do that. And, he was on the second act of his life and was still performing at a high level as well. So condolences to Kobe and all of the families involved.
Q, Quentin Demps, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think, man, as much as we grieve, we got to stay encouraged as well. We got to find a way to let this kind of motivate us. Like Lauren said, stay grateful and always just remain in a place of, just gratitude that you got today. We got this breath we got right now. And, rest in peace, Kobe. It's his daughter too as well. Just condolences out to his family. I know it's tough for them.
Dan, Marvelous Marver.
I'll just echo what my associates here have said. There's nothing more to say. It's a sad thing, of course, and we'll just have to live with his memories now.
Yeah. On behalf of Dan, Marvelous Marver, the 17th letter of the alphabet Q, Quentin Demps, the former NFL star, and of course, the beautiful and talented Comcast CN 100 sideline reporter Lauren Cox, and of course our producer Devin Tingle. I want to say thanks to our guest, Dr. Lloyd Walton, our NBA analyst, joining us, and the great Sam Smith, NBA.com, Chicago Bulls beat writer. It's been another edition of the Rewind Sports 60. Folks, have a pleasant evening, and we'll talk to you next Sunday right here at WCPT 820 AM, Chicago.
This is the next one. I wanna be if I could be like Kobe.
Bryant across the timeline, spins around Anderson. Lob.
One more to go. A ruthless way to put it, but we absolutely want to cut their hearts out.
Still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
He's Ferguson Arthur Jenkins. Fergie, how are you? Welcome to the program.
I'm fine, guys. How you doing?
Hey, man, you know what? We're doing as best we can. We're in, what phase is this now, Marvelous? Phase three? We're in phase 3 of this pandemic that has rocked this world way back in March, and we're slowly but surely crawling out of that dark hole that's been presented for us for, the past few months. And hopefully, we can get into the coast is clear, so to speak. But we're doing well for the most part. How are you?
I'm doing good. Just staying home, watching the news, looking at incredible things going on in the world. It's really unfortunate that the world is suffering the way it is, and people are getting punished for it.
You know what? You're absolutely right, and that's one reason we wanted to have you on the program, Fergie, and talk with you. Obviously, with what's going on with Major League Baseball, but I wanted to go a little bit deeper than that. For the simple fact, as an African American male playing in these United States, during the time that you were playing in the civil rights movement, the late '60s and the early '70s, you've seen your share of protests. You've seen your share of bigotry. You've seen your share of racism. You've seen, I would imagine, the full gamut. I want you to share, a story or two with our listeners here in Chicago and around the world who may be listening online or streaming live on Facebook Live. If you can share some of the stories that you experienced as a professional athlete playing for a great franchise in the Chicago Cubs, but in your travels from city to city during the regular season, back during the 60s and the early 70s, what was life like for you and some of the other African-American ball players on the team, i.e. Ernie Banks and Billy Williams, along with Ferguson Jenkins?
Well, I had more of my experiences happening in the minor leagues when I was with the Philly organization. I signed in 1962 and played in Miami, which was Class D ball, the lowest rung on the ladder. And there was 4 players of color on the team. A young fellow named Green, Reno Garcia from Cuba, Alex Johnson from Michigan, and myself from Canada. And we had a troubleshooter that's come in from time to time. Freddie Mason was his name. And he kind of gave us the riot act of where we could eat, where we could go. We could go to Miami Beach. So we lived on Biscayne Boulevard. But, we ate in certain places. I lived in a Cuban neighborhood, which was biracial, and players of color and people of color. And I didn't have any problem, except when we went on the road. We had to give our money to the white players. If we stopped halfway from Miami to St. Pete or Tampa to have these fellows buy us our lunch or whatever and bring it back on the bus. But those things were something that happened in the minor leagues. The other story was when I basically got promoted to AAA with Dick Allen and Marcelino Lopez and Richie Kittle. Another time, 4 players of color. Dick Allen bought a car in Little Rock, and they pasted that car full of different propaganda, whatever. I call it hate situations. But and Dick was going to quit. He was going to quit baseball and go home back to Pennsylvania. And his mother and a bunch of other people convinced him to stay. And he ended up being the most talented player on that Little Rock ball club, and got promoted to the big leagues that following year.
You know what? That's a great story, because I know a lot of Chicago longtime White Sox fans on the South Side are happy that Dick Allen took the advice of his family and his mother and stayed in the game of baseball, because he had quite a illustrious career on the South Side playing for the Chicago White Sox. And he was an incredible specimen as far as athletes were concerned and a baseball player was concerned. My late brother, who's no longer with us, but when he was alive and he was watching, that's how I got into the White Sox. Dick Allen was actually his favorite ball player. And Fergie, one reason he was a favorite of my brother, along with a lot of African American kids back during that time, was the fact that, and you can recall this, Dick Allen would be in the dugout at Comiskey Park, the old Comiskey Park, the real Comiskey Park, and his biceps were like tree trunks, right? I mean, this guy was a physical beast, and he would have the sleeves on his jerseys ripped so you could see his biceps, and he would wear that batting helmet, I think sometimes even in the field, but he would crush the ball, and he's only one of, I think, 3 players that hit the ball out of the double deck Old Comiskey Park, and the rumor has it that it landed on the Dan Ryan Expressway. But what we loved about him is the fact that he'd go into the dugout and he'd smoke up a cigarette. He'd light a cigarette after crushing the ball, and he'd light up the cigarette. And he was kind of like a no-nonsense guy, but he was beloved on the South Side, and in particular by the black community, because of his alpha demeanor, so to speak. And so we're glad definitely that he played on the South Side with the Chicago White Sox. What else can you share with us? Because again, you pitched during the civil rights era, and we know, of course, what Bill Russell did back in the day with the Boston Celtics during that time. Of course, the great late Muhammad Ali and his stance, Jim Brown, what he brought to the table regarding fighting, for equal justice way back in the 60s during the civil rights movement. What was it like for Ferguson Arthur Jenkins pitching in Chicago during that time?
Well, I was very fortunate enough to have some real early success. And people really enjoyed watching me pitch, and I had a lot of followers. I think the nice thing about it is I played all-day baseball in Chicago, which was outstanding for the Cubs. Mm-hmm. Be up early, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and go to the ballpark with Billy Williams or George Altman, and have to be there, dressed in the field at 9:15, and play the game, which was really, really exciting for me. Trying to prove myself to the Cub organization that I was worthy to be a major league ball player. The only one incident that Billy and I, and it was, I think it was maybe 68, when they had the Weathermen and a bunch of different Black Panthers acting up downtown Chicago, where Mayor Daley told the police force to run these people through Grant Park to the water. And after a ball game, Billy and I actually seen that happen, which was not amusing, but when you see people getting almost stomped to death by horses, you learn soon enough that Mayor Daley didn't mess around.
Yeah, no, the original Mayor Daley, he did not mess around, and that's a long history and that's a long story in its own right. But when you look at that experience and what happened back during that time, and we fast forward to what's currently taking place here in this country and around the world regarding all the protesting and the Black Lives Matter movement, do you see a lot of similarities, and what differences do you see in comparison between the civil rights movement and the Black Lives Matter movement?
Well, I played ball in the minor leagues, and Macon, Georgia was a tough place to play. Knoxville, Tennessee, Palatka, Florida. I think because of the fact that the Bill of Rights hadn't been passed yet. This was in the early 60s. Mm-hmm. So any kind of protest that happened, especially with students or people of color, you were going to get radicalized either by the police force with dogs or with billy clubs. And you just stayed out of the public areas. I mean, I felt safe at the ballpark, but there were a lot of times that people would let you know who you were because they didn't like you. But some of the minor league ballparks had chain link fence, so the fans are right on top of you, and they're really, really angry for no reason whatsoever, just because the color of your skin.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what about this young generation? I don't know if they call them Generation X or Generation whatever the generation that's. It seemed like they have taken the bull by the bull horns and say, hey, you know what? We're not going to take this anymore. And I was a young lad, back during the 60s when all of that happened here in Chicago and around the country. I remember, apartheid, when we were asking for corporations to divest their money out of South Africa because of the atrocities that were taking place there. But me personally, I've never seen a movement with this momentum and magnitude worldwide for as long as it's going on. What do you think about these young people taking matters, so to speak, in their own hands, because that's how movements happen and that's how, protests happen with the younger generation. But this one, they seem a little bit more determined to succeed. How do you see it?
I think it's just as you said, a movement. People are sick and tired of having so many people get radicalized from Hispanics, Japanese, black, white, you name it, because of the fact that the police force has a lot of power.
Mm-hmm.
They have ultimate power, and to have people get killed now, you have a recorder on your phone, and people are recording everything that's going on. So now all this stuff, even though police have their own recordings on their shoulder or in their vehicle, now people are seeing this. They're not standing for it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, too many people have gotten shot. What is it, the saying, death by cop, the death by police force. And unfortunately, people have had enough, and now you're having all these different groups get together, and they're just campaigning. And every city, I think it was like 126 or 28 cities, were having marches, and it's just letting the country know, and it's also worldwide, letting the country know that we got to stop this. If we're going to try to live together and do things that should be common sense, we got to change things.
Yeah, Fergie, this is Dan Marver in the studio here. You're absolutely right with the advent of cell phones. That's changed everything. I can't believe that when people are being filmed doing things, that they continue doing them. I mean, that's unbelievable. They talk about how to change things. You got to maybe get into politics. Weren't you involved in some election in the mid-'80s up in Windsor, though? Didn't you try to get into politics?
Yeah, I was there, Windsor Riverside. I ran for the Liberal Party. I was a parachute candidate. My dad was born in Windsor, so I ran in the Jewish side. And it was interesting for almost 3.5 months campaigning, going house to house, factories, and telling people that I was running for the Liberal Party. And soon enough, you found out who was casting the ballots, who liked you and didn't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just wanted to see a sports celebrity, try to run and get into politics. And I enjoyed it. I was a distant second, but it was just an eye-opening experience to have people come up to me, shake my hand, you're doing this, you're doing that. And I ran on the Liberal Party. We were trying to improve highways, I think elderly establishments, and I think one other, I'm trying to think, new school boards. So, and it took me a little while to study all these different situations and different things that I was trying to represent. And it opened my eyes to what politics was all about.
We're on with the Hall of Famer, former Chicago Cubs hurler. He is Fergie Jenkins on our TRS60 hotline at Rewind Sports 60 WCPT 820 AM. So, Fergie, with your political aspirations a few decades back, maybe we need to bring you to the forefront and get you in the negotiating table and figure this thing out as far as this current Major League Baseball situation is unfolding, because fans, we're eager to get our sports back. There's no question about it. Of course, we want everyone to be safe, and we want everything to be properly in place to move to the next phase, so to speak. But right now, it's the owners against the players, and the players will say, hey, you know what? Just tell us when and where. We're ready to get back to playing. But right now, it seems like the owners are like, we don't want to shell out more money for this shortened season and expanded playoff roster. We still got to figure things out. But the unfortunate thing, Fergie, is the fact that the clock is ticking and you're running out of time. How do you size things up, and what do you think is the best solution for everyone?
Well, the biggest thing is time. And this pandemic we're going through, people are coming up with the virus. They're getting tested, and they're testing positive. It's now June the 20th, I'm pretty sure, the 20th. No, 21st.
21st, yeah.
If they go to spring training, which spring training is almost canceled now, they've closed all the the different sites in Arizona.
Mhm.
They just closed Houston and Florida, and also the Phillies and Clearwater because of players coming down with the COVID-19. And I think the virus is really scaring people, and they don't want players to get sick. Can you imagine a top player getting put on a ventilator and being put in the hospital for months and months at a time, and then maybe not being successful of surviving? That could be the worst. I know that football, basketball, hockey, everybody would like to see sports back the way it was, but as of right now, it's not going to happen because people are scared. I believe they're scared.
You know, Fergie, in baseball, some of the managers are probably over 65 and have immune deficiencies, and then you have like Lester and Rizzo who have had cancer. So there's a lot of people that might be afraid to get exposed.
Oh, definitely. I just think that safety first is the way to go. And it was going to take at least another month for players to get back in shape. And then you got the isolated incidents where they can't stay together. There's no fans in the stands. Just now, I'm in Texas. We're just now having people eating in restaurants, or they're eating in patios. I go to a grocery store on the weekends to shop, a service station, a Circle K, and I put a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I leave the house, I put a mask on. And that's what's going to happen. It'll be kind of tough for players to play with masks on. And even the coaches are even sitting on the bench. And you've got to be 6 feet apart. Benches aren't big enough.
Yeah.
Won't be able to hold a runner
up the first base line because there's not enough room in the dugout.
Right. Won't be able to hold a runner on at first base. You know?
But Fergie, they're playing they're playing in Korea. I mean, they got the fake crowd out there, the cardboard cutouts and everything. They're playing baseball in Korea. Addison Russell just signed a deal. I mean, it seems as if, if they take the proper precautions, that the game can move forward. But to me, it's more than just this shortened regular season, 2020 and the playoffs. This goes beyond this season into 2021. And it seems like that's where the real bargaining stalemate is taking place. Am I off base or a little off on that assessment?
No, you're pretty much right. I think they got to come up with a serum that's going to combat what this virus is all about. And people want to be safe. People don't want to go to a ballpark and be sick. People that, it's something in a crowd. That 6 foot distance or better is something that is very interesting. You can play with a mask on, you can play with a screen, but you don't want, and it's dangerous because the fact that it's communicable. People talk to one another, and who knows, got the virus, who doesn't have it. And let's hope, as I said, no athlete really, really, really gets really sick, because doctors are not curing a lot of these things. People are dying. Almost 200,000 people have died from this virus right now. So it's tough.
Yeah, it certainly is tough. Is there anything you'd like to share with our audience to let them know what's going on with Ferguson Jenkins during this time?
Well, spring training was almost over when they called it off, and I'm trying to sell my house in Arizona, and now I'm living in Texas. And I've been in Texas here for almost 3 months, staying close to home. And you know what's nice? I told myself, I'm going to stay close to home. I'm going to buy 2 dogs, which I have. I bought a Lab and a German Rottweiler, and they're 15-week-old puppies. And I'm raising these dogs right now. I'm going to train them. One's going to be a house dog, and one's going to be a bird dog. And that's keeping me busy right now. I'm just staying close to home and doing my thing.
Well, you know what, Fergie, you're a great humanitarian, a great individual, and you're still beloved in the greatest city in the world as far as sports and anything, Chicago, Illinois. And it's always a pleasure and an honor to get an opportunity to chat with you and catch up with you and just reminisce down memory lane and just make sure that old Ferguson Arthur Jenkins is doing okay. And Before we let you go, man, I got to ask you, can you share with the listening audience, maybe the younger folks who may not be familiar, when they hear the term the white rat, the white rat, what are you referring to when you make that comment? Yeah.
The late Andy Semenick was my first manager in Class D ball, and he called the baseball the white rat. He said, you got to be more intelligent than the rat and make it do what you want it to do. Make good pitches, make good decisions, and the rat will take care of itself.
And for you, it certainly did. Hey, Fergie, real quick before we spring you.
Pretty good.
Hey, real quick, I wanted you to say hello to a longtime iconic figure in the Chicagoland area as well. He's in the political world, and he's on our TRS60 hotline. Congressman Danny Davis, welcome to the Rewind. How are you?
I'm doing great,
and I'm how you doing?
Say hello to Ferguson Jenkins. Say hello to Ferguson Jenkins,
hello.
Congressman.
I'm a big Ferguson Jenkins fan. I always did like those good right-handers who could throw that ball. Yes, indeed. Fergie, it's so good to hear you and know that you're doing well. Thanks for all the thrills that you gave to us in Chicago when you were out there on the mound. I go way back. And so you were an outstanding player and a gentleman as well. So thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Well, I enjoyed my time. The 10 years I played and the coaching time I had there was a lot of fun. Chicago's my second home for sure.
Hey, Fergie, you're always welcome here in the greatest city in the world. We love you. Stay healthy, and we'll talk to you down the road. Hopefully we'll get a chance to talk some baseball in the next few weeks, okay?
Let's hope so. Yeah, keep your fingers crossed.
Take care, Fergie.
Nice talking to you.
On our TR60 hotline, Ferguson Arthur Jenkins, and we're pleased to welcome to the Rewind Sports 60 on WCPT 820 AM. He is Congressman Danny Davis on our hotline. Congressman, how are you? Welcome, and happy Father's Day to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm having a great day. It's been wonderful, and I've had lots of telephone calls and well wishes and aftershave lotion.
Well, it's well deserved, Congressman. It is well deserved, and we appreciate you picking up the phone and joining us on the Rewind Sports 60. This is a sports show, but there's not much sports to talk about. We're waiting to see what's going to happen with baseball. The pandemic has hit the National Football League as well as Major League Baseball, and so we're still trying to see if the National Football League is going to get underway. We were hoping to see the Bears back in camp in mid-July, and we were hoping for a regular season come this fall, but with this pandemic just taking no prisoners, Congressman, we talk sports, real life, entertainment, and politics. But on this Father's Day, we wanted to reach out to you and see how you were doing. And I was just wondering, Congressman, you were giving out certificates this past weekend for great fathers around the Chicagoland area and particular communities, and I didn't get my memo. I didn't get my certificate. What happened? Tell us about it.
We did more than 200, and it's a fascinating kind of thing. And of course, I represent the White Sox, the Bulls, the Red Wings, and the Black Wings, and the Black Hawks, the Bears. All of them are mine, except the Cubs are a little out of my area. But all of the other professional sports teams in Chicago, I represent in my congressional district. So sports is a big part of everything that we do. We look forward to the seasons being reopened, and it's going to be a great year. We just have to. The University of Illinois is working on a vaccine. They're doing clinical trials right now. They're mine too, and so we're looking forward to good stuff.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's fascinating. We, for the last 8 years, have been taking children to the Sheridan Penitentiary to see their fathers so that they can stay connected with their families. Because of the virus, we couldn't make that trip, So we figured out another way of doing it. And so the Department of Corrections gave us the opportunity to communicate with every inmate in state prisons who wanted to hear the message that we conveyed to them. And then we decided that there were a lot of men on the outside who had done outstanding work as fathers. So we organized a way to give each one of them a certificate of appreciation and some shaving lotion.
And that of course was the this
and
weekend.
Some razor blades.
Good.
And razors. And they drive by in their car.
Mm-hmm.
And so 200 plus of these lined up in their cars, drove by a spot where we had, and we just give them their certificate. Many of them got out, and we took a photograph with them because fatherhood is so important to the continuation of our society, and we wanted to let fathers know that. And that's what we did on yesterday, and we had a wonderful time doing it, and we're just grateful that we had the opportunity to do it.
That was fantastic. Of course, it kicked off this weekend, Black Fathers Matter, and of course the census event sponsored by Congressman Danny Davis. I say you're an iconic political figure here in the Chicagoland area. You're definitely a blessing, and you have helped so many people and touch so many lives, and we appreciate the service that you provide not only to the local communities but the entire city of Chicago and the state of Illinois for the work that you do as a Illinois congressman. I got to ask you regarding what's going on with this pandemic and the fact that Major League Baseball are trying to figure things out. I believe I just got a notification that they're still fighting over the 60 games, and I don't know if that's going to happen, but as far as Chicago is concerned, moving forward regarding the next stage and the next phase, do you see Chicago potentially opening up? We know the Chicago Blackhawks over at the United Center, get back, to halfway normalcy with some players going over there to work out. But do you see things unfolding here in the Chicagoland area regarding sports where players are going to get back to some sort of normalcy, and maybe that we'll get a glimpse of some baseball, we'll get an opportunity to see some football, some hockey, and even some NBA basketball? How do you see things unfolding?
I'm very optimistic. I mean, I'm a great sports enthusiast, but I'm a health person first.
Mm-hmm.
Health is wealth. And we've got to get the virus arrested. And as of right now, the only remedy that we have is to try and not be in these big crowds, to do social distancing, to wear a face mask and cover yourself so that you're not spreading anything. But I think we're on our way. And see, in my district alone, there are 24 hospitals. I have 24 hospitals in my district. So we talk health every day. Health is you can't do without it. So let's get the virus arrested. Then let's open up the economy. And I think we're going to do that. We're going to arrest it. We're going to open the economy. We're going to get back to a level of what I call normalcy. Both the White Sox and the Cubs are going to win pennants. The Bulls are on their way back. We got some new guys over with the Bears, and we're going to have a great year.
Well, I love your optimism.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
This is Dan Marver. I'm one of your namesakes. I'm here in the studio. I was just going to ask you, I mean, you're running for re-election this year, aren't you?
I've run my primary.
Yeah.
Generally, if you win a primary in Chicago, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you. You like me, I'm a little bit up there in years. I mean, you're a youngster at 78. So, have you been concerned about participating in any activities in Washington with the virus out there?
No, I'm actually leaving tomorrow because I have a committee to chair on Tuesday, and I want to do it from there as opposed to doing it virtually from here. It will be virtual, but I'm going to Washington tomorrow. We try and observe as many of the rules as we can observe. And like I said, health is so vitally important until if you don't have it, you can have everything else in the world, and it still doesn't do you any good. So we want people to be as health conscious as possible, but we're going to lick this virus business. We've got great institutions in Chicago trying to find a cure and a remedy. All these great universities and medical schools, research institutions that we've got, we're going to be all right. So a little bit of patience until the timing is correct is what we need, and I think we're going to do it. I spoke with Mr. Reinsdorf the other day, and you know, I told him that I was certain that he was going to have a good year with the Bulls because we got this young talent. We're going to be all right. We're going to be fine.
Well, and what did Mr. Reinsdorf say when you told him that?
He says, you know, you come and get a front row seat at the first playoff game.
Right. Well, I hope that we get an opportunity to see some basketball. I know there's cases down in Florida. They're supposed to open up at Disney World, the NBA.
Just have 22 teams, though.
Yeah.
not the Bulls.
Yeah, well, the Bulls aren't a part of that, yeah. But, I mean, I'm hoping that we can get, back, as we talked about, to some sort of normalcy. But real quick, and we appreciate your precious time on this Father's Day for coming on board and joining us. Regarding the pandemic and the virus, we understand that the numbers are escalating in the black and brown community. And one thing you preached just right now, being on the show, is health. And we know that in the black and brown communities, here in the Chicagoland area in particular, the south and west sides, that health is definitely an issue. It's always been an issue for our people. What kind of message, because of the diabetes and the hypertension and the heart conditions, the obesity, what kind of message can you send out, and are you sending out to the black and brown people to say you have to be extra careful about your dieting and your exercising, because this virus, it preys on the vulnerable when you talk about health?
Let me tell you, you're doing as good a job talking about health as you do talking about sports. You are absolutely correct, especially for those most vulnerable populations, but quite frankly, for all populations. And we've got to put more resources into health care. We've got to do a better job of health education. We've got to make sure that people have access and that they have a way to pay for it. And those are things that we've got to do across the board. I really appreciate your sensitivity to that matter and the fact that you raised it and continue to raise it. And I thank you for being with you.
Hey, I thank you as well. And the reason we bring it out, because, our motto here at the Rewind Sports 60, Congressman, is real sports, real talk, just playing real. And it's easy to, try to take people's minds off of what's going on and get back to sports. But as you know, we're living and we're experiencing, it's captivated the sports world as well. And so health, like you said, is the number one thing that we need. Without it, we're almost useless. And so we have to continue to convey the message and share it and get it out there, because it's vital and it's important. And we have to be smart, we have to be safe, and we have to be diligent in trying to find a remedy for this.
Well, thank you so very much. It was good hearing Fergie Jenkins, but I enjoyed the show. I even listen every once in a while. I believe in being cosmopolitan. You can't just stick around some things. You gotta be somewhat comprehensive.
Make sure you tell your friends.
Well, Congressman, thank you for being a fan, and it won't be the last time you're going to be on the Rewind Sports 60. We appreciate your support. We love what you're doing, and we'll certainly be in contact. And stay safe, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
He's the best. I love this man. Yeah. Congressman Danny Davis on our TRS60 hotline of the 7th District, Congressman, 7th District of Illinois, Chicagoland area. This guy he's phenomenal. And he's doing great work. And I commend him for recognizing and identifying, those fathers out there who are doing a great job. And we appreciate him taking some time on this Father's Day to join us.
I just want to mention this portion of the Rewind Sports 60 is brought to you by the Liquor Barn located in Wheeling and Niles. Stop by 2870 East Dundee Road in Wheeling or 8170 Gulf Road in Niles for all your wine and spirits needs. The Liquor Barn is located in Wheeling and Niles. Tell Marcel and Tom in Wheeling that the Rewind Sports 60 told you to stop in and say hello.
Please stop on over there. Those guys are great. I haven't seen them in a few weeks. The pandemic has definitely kept us isolated.
Right. I've been located working in Des Plaines. I pass by that Niles location all the time, so I should stop in myself.
Stop in and say, hey, the Rewind Sports 60 sent you. I sent myself over here.
Yeah, right.
Tell them.
I will. I hope Danny Davis tells his friends to listen to the show, too. I wanted to mention one other thing. When I think of Fergie, this is unbelievable. He started 594 games and completed 267, almost half of them.
Unbelievable.
I mean you would never see that again.
No, you will never see that again. And that's why he is one of a kind. And he's always welcome on the program. He is a friend of the program. Ladies and gentlemen, this portion of the Rewind Sports 60 is sponsored by Serenello's Restaurant Italiano in Wheeling. Now, as part of our ongoing effort to slow the community transmission of COVID-19, Serenello's, they're permitted to reopen just like everyone else. Serenello's is open to provide delivery and carry-out options, but also you can go over there and grab yourself a table. They got it all set up in the parking lot over there. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic place right there on the corner of Milwaukee Avenue and Lake Cook Road. Deliver, curbside menu, carry-out menu, order delivery. Serenello's, give them a call. 847-777-6878. 847-777-6878. Serenello's in Wheeling. Tell Michael Bonner, the chef over there, I wish him happy Father's Day today, that we sent you guys on over there. I'm gonna have my Father's Day dinner.
Yeah.
Serenello's
tonight.
They're gonna take care of me.
Yeah,
I'm getting the.
If all goes well, they might be open inside in a week, according to Phase 4.
Exactly.
That's when I'll go inside.
I think I'm getting the filet mignon tonight.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm getting the filet mignon. My family's They did a great job for me. I don't know. I'll share real quick. We had a great time today. The girls woke me up and say, Dad, they made the reservations. Top Golf. I don't know if you've heard of it. I don't know if you've ever been there, but Top Golf out in Schaumburg.
Wow.
They took me over there for Father's Day, hung out there and teed off. It was a lot of fun. And we only had, my daughters called for the reservation, and we couldn't make a reservation because they were full, so to speak, but we get on over there. It was a 15-minute wait, and we got there probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock. By the time we left after 1 o'clock, there was a 2-hour wait to get in that place.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Right now, there are probably real long waits everywhere.
Yeah, it is. But we want to say, hey, thanks to Serenello's, everyone. You get on over there, tell Chef Michael Bonner, yours truly, Jerry Riles, along with the marvelous one, Dan Marver, said hello. But if you're out and about in the Chicagoland area, the city and the surrounding suburbs, hey, support local. Support local. If you have to order out, if you carry out, you can dine out. Mm-hmm. But support local. We got our guys, Gale Street Inn. Yeah. George and his crew, they got it all set up in their parking lot as well as far as dining out, and got they got everything set up, the umbrellas, the tables, the chairs, and everything. So Gale Street Inn, just down the street on Milwaukee here in Jefferson Park, they've been there for years. George does a fantastic job, one of our great sponsors here. Go on down there, order yourself something. Get the ribs. They just fall off the bone. They're unbelievable.
I've been on patios the last 3 nights, but none of them are sponsors, so I won't mention them. One other funny thing. When you mentioned Dick Allen, do you remember how he used to draw in the dirt by first base? He'd write boo or October 2nd, which was going to be his last day with the Phillies or things. He was a character, too.
Yeah, he was. He was. If you miss any portion of the Rewind Sports 60, I got to tell you, you can watch us on Facebook. Say hello to us. YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, LinkedIn, and Twitch. That's right, the Rewind Sports 60. And if you miss any portion of the show, be sure to look out for the continuous replay broadcast throughout the week. Again, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, LinkedIn, and Twitch. Catch us on Comcast Access in the northern suburbs of Chicago every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on channels 17, 19, and 35. And hey, don't forget to check out our website, therewindsports60.com. That's therewindsports60.com, and of course TRS60.com. It's the Rewind Sports 60, WCPT, fastest hour in sports conversation. Thanks to the Marvelous One. Any last thoughts before we get out of here?
I'm looking forward to being on the show without a mask someday.
Well, we're all looking forward to it, Marvelous. We certainly are, but it's better to be safe than sorry.
That's right.
To all you dads out there, your fathers, enjoy the rest of your Father's Day. Hope you have a great Father's Day meal. If you haven't decided on anything, check out Ciaranello's if you're in the northern suburbs, or you can check out Petorino's, I believe, downtown on Randolph and Dearborn. But any of the Let Us Entertain You restaurants will serve you very, very well. On behalf of the Marvelous One, Dan Marver, and of course the producer, Devin Tingle, yours truly, Jerry Riles, like to say thank you to our guests, Ferguson Arthur Jenkins, and of course the great Congressman Danny Davis. Have a great and safe rest of your Father's Day weekend. Have an enjoyable week. We see you on the radio, see you on social media, see you on the tube. Take care, everybody.
TheRewindSports60.com. TheRewindSports60.com. Relax. Reset. Rejuvenate. Go to our link right now to restart your life. TheRewindSports60.com. What are you waiting for? Hope to see you soon. The Rewind Sports 60.
Take me out to the ball game, Hall of Famer Andre Dawson.
All right. Let's hear it from the greatest fans ever. On three. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Find me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back for its root. Root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Hey, let's get some runs. Thank you.
Another question for you. We just had a caller who called in, Rick, and he talked about the NBA protesting, and he said that he wished that they could protest in another way. And I wanted to ask him, and I didn't get a chance to, but I'll pose it to you. What way would be comfortable, or what do you think, if you have any thoughts on ways that you think that the players should protest?
But what do they protest?
Injustice, an African-American man getting shot 7 times in the back, and a gazillion others that get shot all the time unjustifiably by the police.
Do you think it's unjustified? I don't know, guys. I mean, you're talking about something now that you're pulling this out of the air. You don't know the circumstances. I don't know the circumstances. I don't agree with shooting anybody. But I don't know. I don't know how you would say it is right or wrong or otherwise. The police have a job to uphold law and order. That's their job. Now, do they make mistakes? Yes, they do. But I think if you look at the percentages, they do a pretty good job.
Coach, here's what the whole issue is. All right. Here's why the protestings are going on. Here's why players are boycotting. Here's why, not only in the National Football League, Major League Baseball, the NBA, and of course, the National Hockey League, soccer, the whole 9 yards. It's the fact that there are things that are occurring. Now, there are 75% of African American or minorities playing in the National Football League. 75% of the players in the NBA are African American or minority men. So they are the ones who are getting very well paid as far as what they're doing because of their talents and their skill set. But the other 99% of us, we got to earn a living, and we got to find a way to do that. So when the circumstances are not presented to you on a plain, even level playing field, and in some cases they end in death, the 1% that has made it out, the less than 1%, are saying, hey, you know what? We got to do something here, because for the grace of God, there go I. And that's the problem, Coach. These players who are making the money that they're making and on the stage and the platform that they're on are saying, hey, you know what? We have to represent the people who have not made it, who are still struggling. And this is a way for us to get our point across, get our message across. And for anyone who does not see that or understand that, it lends to bring about some pain. And that's the problem that these players have, and the community as a whole have, with management, people in authority, and people who make decisions aren't meeting at the table to try to come up with a solution.
Well, you're probably right. There's some things you said there are probably right. I mean, I think they should work hard enough to. Pro sports is a tremendous thing. It pays a lot of people a lot of money. It's good for a lot of people. Enjoy it. You have a God-given talent. Not everybody has the talent to dribble a basketball, shoot a basketball, catch a football, or hit a baseball. You got a talent. Thank God for it. Enjoy it. And do it in peace.
No, so Coach, here's the deal. And I love you on with the great Coach Mike Dicker of your Super Bowl winning Chicago Bears, the 85 Bears, Super Bowl 20. Coach, here's the deal. You are an advocate. You are out front for the retired players who can't take care of themselves because of the game of football. You are very outspoken, and those players who can't speak for themselves, who either literally can't talk, their mental CTE, the mental capacity has diminished considerably, their bodies are broken down, and you're out front saying, listen, we need to take care of these guys because this sport has given us the livelihood that we have today. But unfortunately, there are players in the past, in your era, before your era, and after your era, who financially aren't prepared. They can't take it. Physically, they're breaking down. And you want to make sure that things are done right and properly for those guys because they paved the way. And that's what these athletes in this protest and these boycotts are doing. They said, listen, it's beyond us now. This is our community. What do you say to that? Because you're doing the same thing.
I'm not saying they're right or wrong. Listen to me. I don't know what they are, right or wrong. I know that they have a right to dignity. Everybody has a right to dignity. And if they don't think they're getting dignity, then you got a right to protest. But you make a lot of money, guys. You're making a lot of money. You can't make that kind of money doing anything else. You cannot make the kind of money you make in sports doing anything else.
No. Yeah, I agree.
Then I said it. That's it.
Okay.
So, be grateful. Enjoy the opportunity. You got. Thank God. Every day when you wake up, thank God. Hey, man, I got great talent. I'm using them. I'm making a lot of money. I can take care of my family. Enjoy it.
Hey, Coach, this is Dan in the studio. Before your battery goes dead, I wanted to ask you quickly about the kneeling. I assume you feel the same way, that they have a right to...
I don't think it's right. I think it's a privilege to live in this country. I think our flag is a symbol of freedom and opportunity and all the good things. And I think I don't know why. The kneeling thing I don't understand, so I really shouldn't comment on it.
No, I understand, Coach, and that's the problem here, because we all, you live in this country, you've grown up, learning the national anthem and our pledge of allegiance to the flag and all of that stuff. But, Coach, here's the difference here. Here's the big difference, and this is why we wanted to have you on to get your thoughts and get your perspective on what's affecting not only this great city that we live in, but this country that we live in and the world that we live in, Coach. And those players that you talked about, you had some fantastic players on that Super Bowl team, whether it's Walter Payton, Willie Gault, Mike Singletary, Otis Wilson. But listen, Coach, here's what we want you to understand and want others to understand, that as an African American man living in this country, playing in the greatest game in the world, in my opinion, playing professional sports and all the money that you make, at the end of the day, you still walk out of your door every single day as a black man, and you have to wonder what kind of racism I'm going to experience today because of the color of my skin. And that's the problem, Coach. The great Walter Payton.
Okay.
Coach.
I hear you.
Coach. So here's
that's the problem.
So how do we do it? Because, Coach, you don't help. You didn't help the situation, Coach. And I love you to come on with us, but you didn't help the situation when you said, if you don't like this country, get the hell out of it. You didn't help. Oh, he hung up.
Oh, did we lose him?
Devin, call him back.
Relax. Reset. Rejuvenate. Go to our link right now to restart your life. TheRewindSports60.com. What are you waiting for? Hope to see you soon. The Rewind Sports 60.